Elsie, can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our second session on AI 900. I just wanted to start with a question that we received from your colleague, and she was asking. We have this question, which is saying we can embed a Canvas app in Microsoft Forms to collect user feedback. And according to Canvas, the answer was true. But the correct answer is no, and we will fix it right now. I'm not sure, Elsie, if you fix it or not yet. This is an important question. Actually, you cannot embed in Microsoft Forms. Let me show you like little bit something nice about Microsoft Forms before we start. In Microsoft Forms, you can add some kind of script if you want, but the script will not be will not enable you to embed. So for example, in order to display a formula in this way, if I go into the math tool of it. So here in the math tool, first of all, you need to enable the math from here, and you can write a script, as you can see. So this is a coding script, but this coding script doesn't also allow embedding. It allows, for example, adding the Microsoft app as a link, but I don't think this is the right answer. So over here, what I did, I was able to write a code within Microsoft Forms and to put like a reference. And then if I clicked here, it will look like this. So let me preview it for you. So let's say I have a formula and I need the student to solve the formula using an app. So all we need to do is to click here, and then the Power App will open in another tab. So whatever we have in Microsoft Form is like linking and not embedding, okay? Embedding means this Power App should open within Microsoft Forms, but this is not the case. Okay. Now, you know that to embed, we have like a small code called iframe. I tried to put iframe within the same like way over here. So if I clicked on this one, oh, I need to go back. I tried to put the iframe, but as you can see, even it will read all the code instead of the iframe. And this also another proof that, as you can see, it will read everything. It will read how we need to display the formula. It will read all the remaining codes, but when it comes to the iframe, it will not understand it and it will recognize it as a text. So this proves that in MS Forms, we cannot embed Power App, we can link to a Power App. Okay, so this is not the question. The question is asking about embedding. So thank you for the student who shared with us this note. You are right. The correct answer is not yes. The correct answer is no. Also, it is the same for Excel. We cannot embed Canvas app in Excel. We can only embed Canvas app within Power Platform model-driven app. Okay, this is the only way of embedding a Canvas app. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify on this point, and Elsie, please make sure that we change the answers on the Canvas from yes to no. As we mentioned, the answers we are taking it from a website where it lists all the questions from previous exams, and the answers here are from the community, which is commonly voted. But sometimes the answer could be wrong. So if you feel that any of the answers doesn't make sense to you, please don't hesitate to send it to us. We will check if the answer is correct. We'll try to discuss it during our upcoming sessions. And if you are right, we will fix it on campus. Okay, so this is just a small note before we start. Now let's go through the questions that you provided and let's see the question. Now, I would like to tell you that this is a great opportunity for you. This is a great opportunity, not only for sitting for the exam, you will learn a lot from just preparing for the exam. And for me specifically, I already took this certificate. There are some more questions that I'm really doing some search in order to get the right answers. So make sure, since now we have several attempts for the quiz, make sure that each quiz you go and search for the right answer for it. Okay, make sure you see it in front of you, because this is how you will remember the answers in the exam. They will not be the same typical questions, but the same concept. Okay, and this is what I tried to do in this quiz. I tried to put for you several questions that are questioning you about the same concept, but asking it from a different perspective. So once you understand the concept, once you see things in Microsoft and in Azure, your brain will automatically like capture the information, and then it will be easy for you to answer any kind of question. So I guess 5 as of now responded to this form. If you are still doing it, don't worry, please proceed and answer the questions. For the rest of you, let's get started. So the first question is asking about the AI or responsible AI. We covered a lot of these questions in the previous session, but today I just wanted to put another one just for recapping and closing on this objective. But as I mentioned, you will have a lot of questions related to responsible AI, because this is the core. If you are not abiding by responsible AI, your solution will not really be utilized in the market, because they always request you that you follow the responsible AI, especially if if you want to work with Microsoft. So let's say in the future you developed your own solution, you want to share it with Microsoft, to be a partner, to sell your solution under Microsoft, then you have to abide by the responsible AI. So it's very important to really understand it. Okay, so the question here, ensuring an AI system doesn't provide a prediction when important fields contain unusual or missing value. So here, what we are trying to do, we are trying to make sure that our system will not predict if it has any missing value or unusual content. So this goes under which pillar? Is it inclusiveness? No. Is it privacy and security? No, we are not saying or speaking about breaching or any kind of leaking the information. Is it transparency? So transparency is explaining how we are achieving this. Okay, it's more about reliability and safety. Okay, so you have to do this kind of elimination process in order really to try to solve the problem. Sometimes it's obvious, it's straightforward, but in other questions you might really need to go through all the answers and try to guess. Amazing. All of you guessed this question correctly. For me, I did all the fundamental certification. I did the PL 900 data and AI, AI 900, M365, and security. Out of the 5 certification, AI 900 was the easiest because once you understand the concept, the questions will be straightforward. Okay, and there are not a lot of tricky questions, and mostly they are around the questions that we are trying to solve together. Okay. Let's go to the second question. Here I'm saying assigning classes to images before training a classified model is an example of what? So before I start in running the model or training the model, I'm assigning classes. When I'm saying I'm assigning classes, it means I'm putting labels. I'm saying, for example, this is an image of a cat. This is an image of a dog. So this process is called labeling. Okay. Evaluation comes after we train the model and we get the model. We do the evaluation. Feature engineering is where I'm selecting, as we mentioned in the last session. Yes, go ahead. Someone open the mic. Do you have any question? Hello? Is it by mistake? Okay. If you have any question, please either you can open the mic or you can type it in the chat. So, feature engineering is when we are selecting features or columns that will go to the model and that will help to build this like prediction, so the model can recognize patterns. And hyperparameter tuning is before evaluation, where I'm really putting some numbers in order for my model not to be overfitting, underfitting, and so on. Okay, so these are very important. You need to understand the definition of each one of them. They will not ask about the definition. They will just check whether you know the definition or understand the definition. Perfect labeling, most of you. Amazing. Good job till now. Okay, so we have this question. You have an Azure machine learning models that predicts product quality. So we are predicting the product quality. The model has a training data set that contains 50,000 records. A sample of the data is shown here in the image. So what we need to do is that they give you the columns, which will be the features, and they are asking us, out of this table, which will be the feature, which will be the label. So features, as we mentioned, are the important columns that we will input or ingest to the training model. And labels are the one, for example, that we are saying, like yes or no, true or false. The label is something that will help the model to find patterns based on this label. Okay, so let's go through them one by one. If I'm speaking about the mass, which is in kilogram, is it a feature or a label? How can I guess whether this is a feature or a label? I need to go back to the question. What I'm trying to predict over here. I'm trying to predict the product quality. So the product quality should be the label. Okay, the product quality should be the label, and anything else should be a feature. This is how we can differentiate between a feature and a label given a specific table. So mass is a feature. So the answer is yes. Quality test is a label. Correct. Quality test is a label because I'm trying to predict the quality of the product. So this is a label. So this is yes, yes. Now temperature is a label. No, I'm not trying to predict the temperature. If the question is trying to predict the temperature, then the answer will be yes. Since the question is trying to predict product quality, then temperature is not a label, it's a feature. So the right answer over here is yes, yes, and no. Let's check over here what you put. Yes, yes, and no. Amazing. Perfect. So far, it's easy, correct? It's not tricky. Let's continue. So we have 28. Please, all of you, try to solve the question just for you to see the questions and to test your information before we are trying to solve it. Okay, then you train a regression model by using unlabeled data. This is very important, and we spoke about it last time. If you remember when we explained about the different types of machine learning. In the exam, you will find a lot of questions related to machine learning because this is the basis, the foundation of AI. So make sure you understand really when to use what and what are the criteria and so on. So last time we mentioned, if I have supervised machine learning, it means the data includes label. At that time, I will go to regression or classification. How I will select between regression and classification? If my model needs to predict a number, percentage, blah, blah, something that is numeric, then I will go with regression. If my model tries to classify things based on, for example, yes or no, true or false, diabetic, non-diabetic, or multi-classes as we see here in the penguins, then I will go with classification. Now, if my data from the beginning is not labeled, I don't have the output if you want, I'm trying to predict, for example, I'm trying to predict whether a person will get cancer or no, and all my data doesn't include anything about cancer, whether this person has cancer disease or no. At that time, I'm saying I don't have a labeled data. Then I will go into something called unsupervised machine learning, and underneath we have clustering. Now, if we go into AI, we will have different models as well, but these are the trendy topics or the trendy models that Microsoft adopted. Okay, let's continue with you with the questions and let's see. So now we understand that if we are going to regression, then the data should be labeled. If the data is not labeled, I'm going into clustering. So the answer for this question should be no. Okay. Why? Because we are saying unlabeled data. Now, the classification technique is used to predict sequential numeric data. Another question related to this image. This is a really nice summary for it. If I'm saying classification, then I'm not speaking about a numeric, okay? So also the answer here should be no. Finally, grouping items by their common characteristics is an example of clustering. Yes, 100% this is correct. So the answer should be no, no, and yes. Let's see what you selected. Okay, some of you said no, no, yes. Okay, perfect. Yes, yes, no, this is not correct. And make sure you really understand the image that I shared in the PowerPoint. Now, question number 6. So here, which two actions are performed during the data ingestion? So when I'm ingesting the data into the model and doing some kind of data preparation stage for an Azure machine learning, which two things I need to do? So first of all, the first one is calculate the accuracy rate of the model. This is at the final step. So after we train our model, we check for the accuracy of the model. So this answer is wrong. Score test data by using the model. This is also wrong because this comes at the end stage. Combine multiple data set. Yes, this is at the first stage. So if I have, for example, data from health, data from family information or personal information, I need to combine these two data in order to select the right features. So yes, this is part of data preparation and data ingestion. Now, use the model for real-time prediction. This is after we finish training, we finish testing, and we are sure that our model is working fine. At that last stage, then we can use the model in real life or in real-time prediction. Remove records that have missing values, correct? And we said if we have missing values, we can fall into bias. This is why removing missing values is important step in data preparation. Okay? So make sure just to understand at each stage what you are doing with your data. And all the information for this question, you will find it in MS Learn. So if you go through the content that we shared it last time during our session at the beginning, make sure you take notes and to put information to do like mind mapping maybe and so on. Okay, so let's check what were your answers. Okay, combine and remove. So most of you really guessed it well. For the others, you really need to go through the full process of machine learning just to know how we handle like training a model. Okay. Let's proceed. Now we are going to question number 7. A validation set includes the set of input example that will be used to train a model. Okay, so what is a validation set? It includes the set of input examples that we use to train the model. And again, this is wrong, because remember when we spoke about machine learning and how we are handling machine learning, if you remember from here, from this image, we said we will bring the data as columns and rows. The columns that we selected will be called features. The column that have the information that our model will based on it to find the patterns will be called labels. Okay. And now, before we ingest the data into the model, we divide the full data into training set and validating set. Also, sometimes we divide it into testing. So 3 actually, training, validating or evaluating, and then testing. So usually 3, and usually common practice is 60%, 20%, 20%. So we cannot say that these same data set are used for training and for evaluation. This will be 100% overfitting. We want to check whether the data is predicting well. So we expose the model to different data sets, okay? Just to test whether this model is really evaluating or working fine in terms of prediction. Okay, remember always this image. It's simple, but it will really help you to answer such tricky questions. So a validation set doesn't include the set of input example. It should include a different data set. A validation set can be used to determine how well a model predicts, for sure. This is the aim of using the validation set, just to determine how well the model is predicting on a different set of data. A validation set can be used to verify that all training data was used to train the model. No, as we mentioned, we are dividing the data and we have different data sets. So here, not all the training data was used to train the model. This is not our aim. Our aim just to check whether, based on the data that we input as a training data set, whether the model was able to predict correctly using a different data set. Okay, so the answer here is no, yes, and no. Let's see what you selected. No, yes, yes. It should be no, yes, and no. Okay. So the last one, why it is a no. Read well the sentence. A validation set can be used to verify that all the training data was used to train the model. I don't care. I don't care whether all the training data was used to train the model. My intention from the validation set is to expose this model to a new data set and to evaluate whether on the new data set, how is the accuracy rate, okay? How is the precision? How is the model performing, okay? So pay attention to this point. Okay, question number 8. Prediction or predicting how many vehicles will travel across a bridge on a given day is an example of what? Again, this is machine learning. We need to understand which one we will go with. Now, you will tell me why they are exposing us to this number of questions, and they are just asking us to pick between classification, clustering, and regression. Because in Microsoft, the automated machine learning, you will see it. I will demo it for you. You don't really need to write a single line of code. You just need to understand your data, understand what you are trying to do, and picking between these 3 models for the machine learning. Okay, so this is why, since everything is set for you, they just wanted to understand whether you have the basic knowledge or no when handling the data. So if I'm saying how many, it means I'm dealing with a number, Again, if I go back to the chart, I'm dealing with numbers. It means I'm working with the numeric values. It means regression. Okay? So over here, the right answer should be regression. Why? Because I'm dealing with how many vehicles. So this is a number. Okay, let's proceed. Which type of machine learning should you use to identify groups of people who have similar purchasing habits? Now, group of people, and I'm identifying the groups. So what is the difference between clustering and classification? Let me check what you answered this question. Amazing for this question, regression. And here, I totally understand. Here is the big confusion between clustering and classification. Now, why it is clustering and not classification? Look at this point. If I'm saying I want to identify group of people with similar purchasing habit, if I go back here, it means that I don't know my labels. Since I don't know my labels, I have to go into unsupervised machine learning, which is clustering. And in clustering, we are grouping the features that we have into groups based on similarities. Okay, so for example, this one is a great example where I have the data, for example, the data of people who are purchasing, let's say, from Timo, since I'm trying right now Timo. So if they want to understand who is like purchasing from their website, they will take the data. They don't know anything about us. They don't know our educational background, our like titles and so on. They don't know anything. So they don't have anything that is labeled. They just have, for example, the basket which is full with items, and they want to group us to see, for example, who are purchasing with a higher amount of money, who is regular customers for them, and so on. So if they want to understand this, they don't have any information, so it's unlabeled. And here they will use clustering in order to group the people into groups based on similarities. Okay, got it? So this is how you have to think in the questions. Take some time, just take analyze a little bit. I have the data, whether my data is labeled or no, what I'm trying to achieve, and so on. So it is not classification. Why it's not classification? In classification, I need to mention whether, for example, I will put the criteria. For example, I will say whether they are a frequent buyer or no, whether they are, for example, paying above this specific threshold or no. I'm specifying them. And why I'm specifying them? Because my data is already labeled. So the model can understand and look for patterns because my data is labeled. Okay? Got it? You will find a lot of these questions in the exam, so please make sure you really understand the difference. Okay, another question of this type. Predict how many minutes late a flight will arrive based on the amount of snowfall at an airport. Automatically, since it has to do with numbers, then it is regression. Segment customers into different groups to support a marketing department. Segment means divide. It means I don't have data labeled. Then it is clustering. Predict whether a student will complete a university course or no. So based on the information.
Shift.
Okay, someone opened the mic maybe by mistake. Make sure that you close it if you don't have any question. Okay, so since I'm predicting whether a student will complete a course, so I'm predicting, and this doesn't has to do, for example, with a number, then it is classification. Let's see. So regression, clustering, and classification. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, regression, clustering, and classification. Most of you answered this properly. Amazing. Great. Okay, let's continue. You use Azure Machine Learning Designer to publish an inference pipeline. Okay. Which two parameters should you use to access the web service? Each correct answer present part of the solution. So once you have a module and it's ready, all you need to do is to use two things. And this is important. You need to understand. I don't care about the model name. I don't the training input. I don't care about the training input. I care about authentication key. This authentication key, it's like username and password for you. So you are giving them access, and the rest endpoint. The rest endpoint is the final. So endpoint and endpoint, which endpoint I will select? It is the rest endpoint, the final value that I will get. Okay, I don't care about the training endpoint. Actually, there is nothing that has to do with training endpoint. I care about the rest endpoint, which is the final result, and authentication key. So these 2 points are really crucial in order to call a model after you train it on Azure. Actually, this applies to everything, not only to machine learning. Also, if you are using like custom vision, you are using natural language processing, whatever you are doing on Microsoft, two things you will use in order to call your model. And actually, if you participated by building a project, you know this information, that you only need the authentication key and the endpoint, the rest endpoint. Okay, let's see what you answered this question. Yes, these are the two. Don't get confused by the training. We usually know it is an endpoint, not the training endpoint. We need the final one, which is the rest endpoint. Okay, let's proceed. Okay. From Azure Machine Learning Designer to deploy a real inference pipeline as a service for others to consume, you must deploy which one you need to deploy. So this one, you need to understand Azure a little bit, okay, before you and the containers. Actually, this question is part of Azure fundamentals. So if you are planning also in the future to take the Azure fundamental, actually it should be the base for everything that has to do with Azure, because you will learn about all the infrastructure, the concept, and so on. So what we have in this question? In this question, it's asking us, let's go back to the question. It's asking us, when I want to deploy a real-time inference pipeline, what does it mean? It means that I want to put my model in a container, okay? And I want to interact with this container on a real-time basis, okay? So where I should deploy the model, where should I put it? I should put it on a local web service. I should put it on Azure Container Instance. I should put it on Azure Kubernetes Services, or I should put it on Azure Machine Learning Compute. So Azure Machine Learning Compute is something like a computer where we are using for processing and so on. It's usually used while we are doing training, because, for example, if you are training a model and it will take a lot of time, then sometime you need to upgrade your servers and so on. Then you will go into Azure Machine Learning Compute. But after you deploy and you want to use it, you need to put it on in a container, okay? So the container cannot be a local web service. It will not be helpful for the real time. It should be between these two. Now, what is the difference between Azure Container Instances and Azure Kubernetes Services? Let's go and understand. So Azure Container Instance is a PaaS. What is a PaaS? PaaS is a platform as a service, okay? So what it offers really the fastest and simple way to run containers without having to manage the infrastructure. So it's a useful way when it comes to simple things that we have, but when it comes to real time processing, then we have to go to Kubernetes. What is a Kubernetes? Kubernetes is like I'm having a small of this container. Instead of having one container, I'm having small containers which will take care of more data, which will take care of more complex operation, and it is faster, it is more in terms of privacy, it's better in terms of privacy, and so on. So you need really to compare when to use what. So if I want to have something that is simplified, short terms, for example, I want to deploy it and to show the customer, I don't want to pay a lot of money, then I will go with Azure Container Instance. As we mentioned, it's quick deployment. But if I'm saying I need something that is like long term, that has complex application like real time inference and scalable, so if I have more requests, it will scale and so on, then I will go with Azure Kubernetes Services. Okay. Try also while you are studying, try to do a chart like comparison when to use what in terms of container, because it will be also part of the MS Learn. Now, this kind of question, you will not get more than one or two questions because this is not the core of this exam. If you are doing Azure Fundamental, then expect a lot of these questions. Okay, so far so good. Let's see what you answered for this question. Amazing, Azure Kubernetes Services. Okay, let's proceed. You plan to use the data set to train a model that will predict the house price. Okay, so this is automatically regression. What are household income and the house price category? So to answer, select the right option. Okay, so I have a table. Okay, I want to input this data for the automated machine learning, let's say. And here I need to select the features and the labels. Now, let me go to back to the question. What I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to predict the house price. So automatically the house price will be my label. Okay, so automatically the house price will be my label. The rest of the columns are called features. Okay, this is straightforward. Let's see. Okay, regression, classification. Yes, so feature and label. Perfect. Let's continue. So as I mentioned, even if you weren't able to submit your form, please work hard to submit the form. It's a nice way to get exposed to the question before we try to answer them. Okay, you need to predict the income range of a given customer by using the following dataset. Okay, so what I'm trying to predict the income range. Okay, the range. Which two fields should you use as features? Each correct one is a complete solution. Okay, so I'm trying to predict this one. So this is my label. And here I'm doing feature engineering. What is feature engineering? I'm trying to, or feature selection, sorry. Feature selection, I have the columns. I need to select which columns will go to the model. Let's think of it. First name, last name. Does it really affect on the range? My name is Solange. Does it affect how much I will get? A salary? No. So we will remove the columns that doesn't have really direct or indirect relationship with the label. Remember, this exercise should be done based on the question. So each question I might select specific features based on what I'm trying to do. So first name, last name has nothing to do with the income. Okay, nothing. I cannot, no relationship. then these shouldn't be named as features. The age, yes, maybe once the person is like getting older or so on, they will get more experience, hence their income will increase. So this is direct influence on the income. So this will be a feature. And education level also, it matters a lot on the income. So the features are age and education level. Let's check what you put over here. Amazing. Yeah, first name, no. Okay, let's proceed. Number 15. Azure Machine Learning Designer provides a drag and drop visual canvas to build, test, and deploy machine learning. Now I will show you I recorded yesterday something related to this one. So let me make it in a full size just to see it. Now, we mentioned it before. For this exam, you don't really need to do a lab, okay? And if you used all the $100 credit, you don't really need more credits. You can go and search for the questions and understand online. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you. So if you still have some credits, it's a good habit to go and yeah, what is inference pipeline now? I will show it for you, the inference pipeline. If you have some credit, I really advise you to go and play around, and after you finish, you just delete. So yesterday I I created something related to automated machine learning just to show you the process. So let's get started. From here, once you are into the automated machine learning, you will have notebooks, you will have automated ML, and you will have designer. So you have to start with this one, automated ML. In the automated ML, or in the ML first, before we go to the automated, you can start by the training method. So how you want to start? You want to do it automatically, you want to, for example, just do some kind of fine tuning because the models, everything is there, or you have your own script and you want to run it on Azure. Now, if I have my own script, why I need to run it on Azure? Faster and easier and easy to deploy. Okay. So you can select between any of these. Now, if I selected automatically, the second step is to specify what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do classification, regression, time series, natural language processing, computer vision, blah, blah, blah. So all these are available for you so that you can select from, okay? This is why I told you they ask you a lot of questions to understand the difference between regression, clustering, classification, because all you need to do is just to select what you are trying to achieve. And from there, so let's say I selected the regression. From there, I will upload my data set. Okay. Now, after I upload my data set, I will go into the designer, and here where I'm having the pipeline and the inference pipeline. So let's check over here the inference pipeline. It's a drag and drop module. So this is the pipeline. Okay, this is the pipeline. So under the pipeline, I have all these options as components. So I have the data, I have data transformation, which is manipulation and so on. And here is how I'm drawing for the machine the flow. So instead of me going into Python coding and starting step by step, get the data, clean the data, do feature engineering, do splitting the data, then apply this model, and then check the evaluation score. Instead of me doing all of this on a Python, I can simply do it in this way, in a visualized way, which we call it a pipeline, okay? So here you can also, this is another important aspect, you can also upload a component, and that component could be a Python script or even R script. So if you have your own script also at this stage and you want to apply it, you can import it into the components and then apply it straightforward. Okay. So this is a documentation about how to create your own custom pipeline, or sorry, custom component in the pipeline. So this is the pipeline. The flow is the pipeline. And how I need the flow to appear from one step to the other is what I can simply do by drag and drop and by matching. Okay? So now since we have an idea about it, uh, let me also show you this one. So from here, these are the components. So after I uploaded the component could have the data set. It could have some coding for data transformation, like removing column, cleaning, missing data, and so on. Model scoring, evaluation, Python language if I have a specific script that I want to apply, also R language, feature selection. So instead of you writing the code, you can simply, what you can do is drag and drop it over here and start from this point and continue the flow. Okay, so this is pipeline interference, and this is to answer the question of Zara. Okay, Zara, you understand now what is pipeline interference? Okay, let's go back to our question. So here our question is saying, perfect. Azure Machine Learning Designer provides a drag and drop visual canvas to build, test, and deploy. Correct, 100%. This is what I showed you. It is a drag and drop module where I'm inputting whatever I need for building the module from data ingestion to data cleaning to splitting the data to selecting the right model for the training, for even testing, and finally deploying. All of this can be done in the Learning Designer that is part of Azure Machine Learning. Okay, now Azure Machine Learning Designer enables you to save your progress as a pipeline draft, correct? As we can see, whenever you create it, even if I come tomorrow, it's automatically saved, okay? Azure Machine Learning Designer enable you to include custom JavaScript. No, what we saw is that it can include only Python or R script. We cannot include JavaScript, okay? So the answer here is yes, yes, and no. Let's see what you selected. Okay, so yes, yes, and no. Perfect. Let's proceed. Which two languages can you use to write custom code? Again, not JavaScript, but we can use Python and R as we saw in the video. And you can also go and check the documentation related to this. Not C#. C# is not used for artificial intelligence, actually. And I don't know Scala. I'm not sure if you know Scala or no. Let's see what you answered. Okay, not C#. Okay, let's proceed. Azure Machine Learning Designer lets you create machine learning models by what? Is it adding and connecting models on a visual canvas? Yes, correct. As we saw, I dragged and dropped and then I connected. So this is 100% correct. Automatically performing common data preparation, not only this. So this is one component. Automatically selecting an algorithm to build the most accurate model, no. Using a code-first notebook experience, again, no. So the learner designer or the machine learning designer helped me by adding and connecting modules on Microsoft Campus. Let me see what you selected. Earning, okay, perfect. Let's proceed. Automated machine learning provides you with the ability to include custom Python script. Yes, as I showed you, under component, you can include Python script. Automated machine learning implements machine learning solution without the need for programming experience, 100%. This is what I started. They need you to understand the concept without really knowing the code. For example, which line of code I need to apply to do data calculation or data manipulation or data preparation. Without this knowledge, you can simply drag and drop whatever you need. You need only to understand the main concept, and from there you can use Azure and like train your model. Automated machine learning provides you with the ability to visually connect data set and models on an interactive canvas. Yes, as I mentioned and as I showed you, you drag, for example, the data set, you link them, and that's all. Okay. Let me see, what were your answers? Yes, 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 should be. Okay, let's proceed. Here is an example also of a pipeline inference. So you need to use Azure Machine Learning Designer to build a model that will predict automobile price. So this is regression. Which type of models should you use to complete the model? So which type of models should you use to complete the model? So here is the image. I'm not sure if it will be clear. Let's see in the view responses. It's not showing us in the view response. View responses. Were you able to see it properly, this one? Let's put it here on the PowerPoint. Try to analyze it together. Something happened. I'm very sorry. What's going on? Let's open Paint. Okay, let's zoom it. Okay, so what I need to do, I have these like fields and I need to fill in the blanks. So here I get my data, but as you can see, it's raw, it's not cleaned. So what I need to do over here, before cleaning missing data, what I can do, I need to do something that has to do with data cleaning. Is it convert to CSV file? I know. K-mean clustering, no. Linear regression, no. Split data, no. Select columns in data set, yes. So as we said, if I have a lot of columns, I need to do some kind of feature selection. So here, select columns from the data set and then do some kind of cleaning for the missing data and so on. Now, at this stage, what I need to put at this stage, and look, I have two arrows. I have an arrow for training the model and an arrow for the score model. So this means after cleaning my data, I need to split my data into training data set and evaluation data set. So at this stage, I will do split data. Now, the training model, which model I will select? And here they are giving me k-means clustering and linear regression. If we go back to the question, what is the question? I'm trying to predict the automobile prices. It means number. Since it is a number, it means I have to go with regression and then I will select linear regression. It's really easy and nice. So this is what they need you to know in the exam. They need you to just know at each stage what you need to do and just drag and drop without really knowing how to write the code. They already have all the codes hidden for you. I wish it was there available when I was doing my diploma in data AI. It was taking us a lot of time just to write codes at each and every stage. Let's see. Okay, summarize data. It's not summarized data. We don't need to summarize data actually. Yes, select columns, automobile price data. No. Clean data. No. Okay, so now you understand what you have to do. And now you understand why we selected linear regression versus the k-means module. Okay, perfect. Let's proceed. We still have 10 more questions and we still have 10 more minutes. Good. We are on the right track. Which two components can you drag into Canvas and Azure Machine Learning Designers? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. So if you remember when I come here in the component, okay, let me remove this one. PowerPoint. in the component, if you remember, I have all these data sets. So I can put, for example, coding for the manipulation of data. I can put the data set. I can put a lot of things. Okay. Uh, Something is happening at my side. Let me stop sharing and then reopen it one more time just to make sure that I have my. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Perfect. Okay. So what I can put, data set for sure, and we saw it. Compute, no, we don't need to do anything with the compute. It will automatically select the right compute for us based on the model that we have. This is the beauty of it. So I'm not sure if you use Kaggle or Google Colab. So there, maybe you have to select the right server and so on. And Microsoft, you don't. You just build the pipeline as we saw it, and it will take care of all the compute. The pipeline, you need to drag dataset and the model, which is the regression, classification, and so on. But the pipeline, it's already there. You don't need to drag and drop it. Okay. Let's see what you answered over here. Dataset and model. Amazing. Okay, let's proceed. You need to create a training dataset and validation dataset from an existing dataset. Which model in Azure Machine Learning Designer should you use? Now we just saw it in another question. So here we need to do split the data. Okay? See? Yes, splitting the data. Select columns in data set. No, select column in a data set. This is at the first stage, if you remember, before data cleaning. But now I'm saying I want to divide into training and validation. So the actual one is splitting the data. Okay, let's proceed. A medical research project uses a large anonymized dataset of brain scan images that are categorized into predefined brain Hey, just type, sorry, I don't know these words. You need to use machine learning to support early detection of the different brain types in the image before the images are reviewed by a person. So what we are trying to do, we have the dataset, and the dataset has label. How I know that it has a label? It's saying here predefined brain like this disease type. Okay, so I have a labeled data, and here I need to you need machine learning to support an early detection. So I have to classify the patient whether they have this disease, yes or no. So if I go back to my presentation, label data and classifying whether this person has this disease, yes or no. So the answer should be classification. Perfect. Amazing. Okay, let's continue. Organizing documents into groups based on similarities of the text contained in the document is an example of clustering. Yes, correct. Grouping similar patients based on symptoms and diagnostic test result is an example of clustering. Amazing. Coming correct. Predicting whether a person will develop mild, moderate, or severe allergy symptoms based on a pollen count is an example of clustering. No. So these two correct. So in clustering, we are grouping based on similarities, whether it is tags or whatsoever. We are grouping based on symptoms, correct, but we are not predicting. We cannot predict. Prediction happens when I have a labeled data. Okay, so yes, yes, and no. Perfect. Okay, perfect. When training a model, why should you randomly split the rows into separate subsets? Why we do this step? To train the model twice? No, this is not about training the model twice. To train multiple models simultaneously? No. To test, yes, correct. So we split the data into rows so that we test the model by using data that was not used in the training model. Okay. You are building a tool that will process images from a retail store and identify the products of competitors. The solution, you will use a custom model, okay? Which Azure Cognitive Services. Also, we are now in another level where we are checking the Azure Cognitive Services or the APIs. So here, what we are trying to do, here we are trying to check the images and to identify the products of competitors based on the images. So this is not something out of the box. This is why we don't say computer vision. Computer vision is like detecting things within the location, for example, of the image, checking something related. Let me show you. So image under computer vision, what we have, and this is very important. You need to do it in your exam. You need to write it down. So under computer vision, we have image classification, where we are classifying, for example, images based on tags. This is dog, cat, cow, whatsoever. Content moderation, what we mean by content moderation. So it has to do, for example, with taxes within the image, OCR. So everything that has to do with OCR goes under content moderation and computer vision. And facial recognition, recognizing peoples. Okay, now for sure we need to train it more. Now, custom vision is when you are building something new related to the image, which is the case here. So I'm building something to search for competitors that have the same product. Okay, so here I can specify labels and train custom model to detect them. Okay, so in our example, since we are not using something out of the box, we are training on images from retail store and then identify the product of competitors. Then we are not using the regular computer vision. We are building, we are also, they mention it over here, the solution you will use a custom model. So you are customizing something for you. This is why the answer is custom vision. Let's see. Oh, okay. This one is the previous question. Custom vision, amazing. Okay, let's continue. Counting the number of animals in an area based on a video feed is an example of what? Uh, so since I'm counting animals, so I have the animals tagged and I'm counting them. It's not forecasting, nothing that has to do with like forecasting. It's not conversational AI. It has nothing to do with conversation. It's not anomaly detector. So it's for sure computer vision, because in computer vision, we can tag the animals and then we can write a line of code to count them. Yes, computer vision. Anomaly detection is if I want to see something that is odd out of the pattern. Okay, your company wants to build a recycling machine for bottles. The recycling machine must automatically identify bottles of the correct shape and reject all other items. Which type of AI workload, sorry, should the company use? So here, since we are detecting an image, only identify image, we are not doing more sophisticated things. At this time, we need to put computer vision. Sorry, this option is by mistake. So we need to put computer vision. Let me check what you answered. Yes. Again, not anomaly detection. Okay. Let's continue. What are two metrics that you can use to evaluate a regression model? This is a very important question. You need to understand and you need to memorize the different measurements that we use to evaluate based on the type of the machine learning, whether it is regression, classification, and so on. So here I created a small summary for you. So when I'm speaking about regression, it means I have numbers. Then I can go with mean absolute error, mean squared error, R squared score, and root mean squared error. So all of these has to do with regression when I'm evaluating the model. Now, if I'm speaking about classification, so I need to know how far the model was predicting something or predicting the classification from the center, which is the right answer. So here we speak about precision, we speak about accuracy score, confusion matrix, which I explained last time, recall whether true or positive rate, under the curve, and F1 score. So you have to memorize these, and you have to know that under which type of machine learning I will use what, because you will find a lot of questions related to this objective. So let's go back. What are the two matrices that you can use to evaluate regression? Since we are speaking about regression, numbers, then R2, as we saw, and the root mean scored error. Let me see what you answered over here. Amazing. Okay, number 29. Which metric can you use to evaluate classification model? And here we have true positive rate, yes. A mean absolute, no. The R, no. The root mean scored error, no. Perfect, amazing. Okay, the final question before we leave you. Oh, two more. Okay. Which one of these is the calculated probability of a correct image classification? Now, you need to know the definition also for each evaluation matrix, but let's see over here. It's speaking about the probability of correct images. Then we are speaking about accuracy, okay? Not root mean, because this is used for regression. Sentiment has nothing to do with the classification, and nothing has to do with confidence. So the right answer is accuracy. What is the Azure Cognitive Search primary used for in the knowledge mining? So how we are using the Azure Cognitive Search and knowledge mining? Knowledge mining, it means to search for information. Is it to store large amount of data? For sure, no. Is it to translate? For sure, no. To perform data analysis? No. If I'm speaking about knowledge mining, it means I'm extracting and indexing searchable information from various content. It is just the definition of the word knowledge mining. It has nothing to do with Microsoft, okay? So this is just like a translation. Okay, so pay attention. This is for regression. Yeah, I understand the confusion between confidence and accuracy, but we don't have a matrix called confidence. We have accuracy as a matrix. Extract and indexing, amazing. Okay, 32. In which two scenarios can you use the form recognizer service? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. So form recognizer, we extract the information from an image and we put it in our database. So what we can do over here, yes, we can extract the invoice number. We can translate, no, this is not part of form recognizer. We can find the image, no. We can identify the retailer from the receipt, yes, because we can extract the information from the form. So let's see what you answered. Extract and identify, amazing. Great job. Thank you for your time. I know it's Ramadan period and it's your vacation. So thank you for attending. This is really important that you are attending all the sessions. Elsie put for you the attendance form. Please fill it out. Make sure that you fill it out because your attendance is counted, okay? So, and also something else which is counted is to solve all the quizzes on campus. Okay. We opened the quizzes for you to do several attempts, so feel free to repeat the quizzes as much as possible so that you are ready for the exam. Thank you for your attendance and have a great day. Bye-bye.